Welcome back to Genesis Custom Sabers. This is just a quick rundown tutorial vid of this new lightsaber that is patterned after the Darth Bane curved lightsaber. I was commissioned by someone to do a lightsaber that would reflect a disciple of Darth Bane in terms of storyline. So it's supposed to be distinct enough, but definitely mean looking and definitely influenced by the Darth Bane lightsaber. You can tell it's got the same or a similar bone, Krayt Bone segment. It's got a single claw element as opposed to the one on the pommel like the Darth Bane. It's got a Petit Crouton unlocked sound card inside and a 7.4 volt lithium ion battery in my standard kind of custom switch setup. With this saber there's no brass on it. I kind of opted to go with visible screws and black accents to make it look a little bit more down to business. The claw speaks for itself. It's very stark, bigger than Darth Bane's. In terms of operation, it's standard. There's a recharge port kill key on the opposite side of the cover tech here. You pull it out. You hear the boot up sound. In this case, the sound font is Revenge, patterned after Darth Maul sounds. I'll put a blade in so you can see the powder coated black power and auxiliary buttons. Oops. It's a blade retention screw here. So this is the button that turns it on. You can see the switches are backlit red. It's the auxiliary button for blaster block. You hold it down for the lockup sound. That's how to operate this saber. It's similar to any Petit Crouton or crystal focus saber in terms of its operation and sensitivity. Now with this saber, I always try to design mine so that there's access to the SD card for customization of the Petit Crouton or the sound card, as it were. With this one, it is a little trickier to get into. Now it's a really good sound font, and you should never need to take apart this saber. But here's what I will permit for warranty purposes. None of these screws need to be removed for warranty purposes. What I will show you really quickly before the card is just a maintenance of screws like this, because there's a proper amount of tension on this claw. Now with excessive dueling, it could become jarred and even rattle a little bit if the screws become loose at all. So what I do to kind of, for regular maintenance, is every once in a while I'll use the proper Allen key, which will be shipped out with the saber, in the screws. Now because it's aluminum, you never want to use it like this. That gives you too much force. But there's an interesting little trick. I don't know if you're familiar with what a torque wrench is, but you don't need a torque wrench for this, because if you use the Allen key like this and you tighten it, turning it clockwise, that amount of finger tightness, that's perfect. That is a perfect tension on these screws. Any more and you're risking stripping them. So that finger tight, and you can feel it flex in my hand, means that these are perfect. So that would be a regular maintenance thing, especially if you're using it for dueling a lot. Anyway, same Allen key. There's a tiny hole that's in line with these screws. Now here's the trick. There's actually two. The one in the pommel that's got a silver screw in there, you never need to touch that, because that holds the pommel together. The one that's hidden inside the rubber belt there, well, that you slide the Allen key in there, make sure that it's actually set. Well, what you do is you actually tighten it. I know the instinct is to loosen it in order to loosen the pommel, but actually you tighten the screw and that loosens the pommel. So one full turn on that, and then this pommel, you just gently wiggle. And sometimes I like to put the saber down on the table and get lots of light in order to do this. You gently wiggle and it pops out. You'll see a clip there and another clip here. You may not even need to undo those clips. And there's a gray tab here. Well, that attaches to the recharge port, as you can see. And you gently pull that, and it just pulls out the whole recharge port assembly, and it gets it out of the way. So again, you don't need to undo any of those clips, but you can. And then, I don't know if you can see it in there, but inside there is the SD card. It's quite a ways in there, so it's a little tricky, and like I said, the saber's fine-tuned. You should never need to do this, but it is permitted. So in order to access the SD card, always remember to put the kill key in the recharge port. That shuts off the saber. So now the saber does not operate. Now in this case, a finger easily fits in there, and you can press on the SD card and you feel it click back a little bit, and that's perfect. And then what you do is you're needling those pliers and very gently you reach in there and just touching the SD card, you just gently pull. And there you go. There's your SD card. So you can put that inside the card adapter that you would if you were to buy a second card. It comes with a card adapter, and when you've made your modifications, you place it back in there gently with the pliers. You don't want to drop it, because if it falls into this saber, it could become stuck in there and really become tricky. So now I'm going to use my finger and I'm going to gently wiggle and press it until I hear it click into place. I'm going to make sure, there we go. And if I want to test it, pull out the recharge port with the kill key. It boots up. If I was to hear nothing, or if I was to hear several beeps, then I know that I've done something wrong. And again, there's an indicator flashing deep down in the saber. That just gives you another indicator that the power's on and it's ready and it's working. So that's how this saber works. Taking it apart any further beyond that would void the warranty. Putting it back together again is just the reverse exactly of what we just did. Making sure all the wires are clear of the housing. Pressing this gray thing back in until the recharge port lines up. You may even want to, at this point, just pop the kill key in there to keep it nice and centered. And the wires kind of tuck into the pommel, and then they rotate around so that everything kind of is clear. Pommel lines up. You can see the screw that we've used to hold it on there. You want to line that up with the hole and gently rock it back and forth, making sure that nothing snags. You can see through the tiny hole that it lines up with the set screw. Again, Allen key goes in, and you want to wiggle it around until you feel it seat on there. And I'm not feeling it seat properly, so I want to double check that it's lined up. This can be a tricky operation. Like I said, not necessary to take the saber apart, but to get that to seat on there, you want to not tighten it. Remember, because we're going to go counterclockwise now to loosen it, which will actually tighten the saber. I know that's confusing. It is tricky to get that lined up properly. Don't know why it's not doing that. There we go. You can feel it. So now if I loosen or counterclockwise on this, usually about one full turn, I can feel it tighten again. The same perfect torque wrench tension. Now the saber is together, ready for dueling. Works perfectly. So that's how to operate this saber safely, and it'll last a very long time.